Right. What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? LinkedIn, YouTube. What's going on, y'all? I'm Chris, back for another BizBuzz Live. It's Wednesday. I couldn't wait to get back and see you. Today, we're going to talk about some of these bankruptcies that we've been seeing, specifically in the retail space and the restaurant space. So if you are or know people that are in the retail space and restaurant space, stick around, because today's the show. We're going to be talking about some of the bankruptcies. All right. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Wednesday's episode of BizBuzz Live. I'm your host, Chris Muzan. I'm your financial coach, financial therapist. Teach you all the things you need to know about money. And the premise of this show, why we started these BizBuzz Lives on Wednesday, to talk about all things career, all things industry, all things, whether it's jobs, entrepreneur life, talking about what's the next move if you're in the midst of making a career shift, or you're thinking about moving on or finding a different path for your revenue building, for your income generating opportunities. We got to talk about all the things that are happening out there. And oftentimes in this financial coaching space, which I've been in for now the past 10, 11 years, oftentimes the conversations we start having are really around how we're creating income. How are we making more money? Our income drives all of the other things in our financial life, whether it's our short-term savings, whether it's our long-term ability to invest, whether it's getting out of debt, whether it's starting to invest in other asset classes, whether it's making sure that we have proper estate plans, or whatever the case is. All of it comes down to our income and how we're generating income. So it's important for us to talk about the ways that we make money. And so many of us here, especially on the LinkedIn platform, right? We're here looking for opportunities, or in careers, looking to network, looking to advance our corporate career, our corporate job. Maybe you're an entrepreneur on the platform trying to network and get around the right people that are your target market or your target audience. But regardless, right, we're here focused on career, vocation, on how we're generating income, how we're setting ourselves up financially for our futures. So it's important to start having the conversations around what are the areas, what are the industries, what are the challenges, what are the ups and the upsides and the downsides to many different industries and those things. And so when we start having these financial conversations, oftentimes it comes back to what we're doing to generate income. So that's why we're talking about all types of things on BizBuzz. Feel free to drop a comment, right? Feel free to join in the chat, in the conversation. Today, we're talking about a couple companies that have chosen to file bankruptcy, or they're right on the verge of it, I believe, if they both haven't. And why this is important, specifically these two spaces, the retail space and the restaurant space. I often talk about them being very similar, the retail space and the restaurant space. Lot of restaurants and the people that work in restaurants, which again used to be a background of mine, typically have similar skill sets to those in the retail space, similar hours, similar mindsets about how to multitask, how to work. You find a really good retail manager, you'll find a really good restaurant manager. They often have similar traits about them, similar qualities. They're people. They keep their staff happy, as well as taking care of their guest or their customer. And a lot of these companies are now finding it harder to retain talent, to keep talent, to have people that actually are hardworking, genuine, good people stick around. And so you're seeing these fluctuations in these industries, again, specifically retail and restaurants. Something that we saw pop up, I'll bring it to your attention. You might have already seen it. Red Lobster eyes bankruptcy after this 11 million in losses from endless shrimp. So if you've ever been to Red Lobster, right? You've ever been to Red Lobster and you've gotten a chance to partake in the endless shrimp. This is a special that they choose to run where you can get as many refills of shrimp as you want. For servers that might work there, this might be the worst time of their life, right? Because they have to constantly serve more and more bowls, buckets of shrimp, or however people want them. But in this article, it's saying that they're chalking this up to the reason why they might have to file bankruptcy. They may have to file bankruptcy because apparently this endless shrimp promotion sank the bottom line. Now, I don't fully believe this. Maybe this is a different tangent. Maybe we talk about this on a different show or at a different time. I don't really think that Red Lobster is going under specifically because of endless shrimp. Ideally, the way that some type of promotion works or some type of giveaway type of deal like that is, yes, you're paying for the shrimp, but you're making your money somewhere else. Because you're staying for that extra plate of shrimp, you typically are going to buy an extra drink. Typically, because you're coming there already hungry, right? You might be able to be enticed by a different, appetizer than you normally would get. And so then they make up money in other places. So I don't fully believe that just because people took advantage of the endless shrimp, most people aren't diligent to saying, oh, let me just have that and water and not run up any other charges. Most people aren't diligent to that. And I don't think that's the reason why Red Lobster is going down. But again, that might be a different topic. The thing to focus on, I think, with this article is really the fact that a large chain, something that we've seen, something that we've known, something that has been a staple in a lot of people's casual dining experience, is on the brink of saying they have too much debt and the model, right? Like what they're doing isn't working. So they're going to have to figure out now how to potentially move some of their debt around, which is essentially is what filing bankruptcy is for large corporations. It's not that it'll go away forever. It's just that they can't repay all of the debt that they have because they're saying that they took down here. It says $12.5 million in losses in the fourth quarter of 2023. I don't think all of that comes from endless shrimp. That could also come from mismanagement of labor. It could also come from other areas that they're not growing in sales. It could come from marketing budgets. It could come from training budgets. There's lots of different areas that this could probably come from. But that being said, this is a large scale restaurant, large chain that has to now think about eyeing bankruptcy because they're not able to meet their numbers. How many other chains is this going to happen to? How many other casual dining places is this going to happen to? We have to be aware, ladies and gentlemen, again, there's a lot of people that are in the hospitality space, the restaurant space, and you're watching either your smaller mom and pop type restaurant, maybe struggle for sales. Maybe you are relatively busy, but there's a mismanagement. You don't know how well the business is doing. This is an example of a bigger restaurant company saying, hey, we're losing money every month. Losing $12 million at the end of a year. So for a quarter, for 3 months, that's what, like about a $4 million a month loss on average. Well, no business can sustain doing that. So that might not be the industry we're thinking about if we're trying to now go off and build our financial foundation and build our financial dreams. It might not come in this industry because obviously bigger companies are losing money. There's lots of money being lost here. And so this is just one example. That's an example of Red Lobster. That's an example of a company that we all know, that we all potentially have dined at, or whatever the case is, that not figuring out how to handle their debt, how to bring in more sales, how to keep labor low, how to keep cost of goods low, right? How to make sure the food cost is low. They don't, right? They're struggling in that area. We also see this again, the other side, which is retail. This retail article here says Express, the clothing store Express, files for bankruptcy and plans to close nearly 100 stores as they're trying to save the brand. Remember, a little bit different than personal bankruptcy. When these companies are filing bankruptcy, they're really just restructuring their debt so they don't owe as much, so they can try to get their head above water, so they can rebuild the brand back. Some companies do completely go away because once they file bankruptcy, there is no bringing them back. But some companies do tend to come back. But either way, Express, these were big stores in malls, right? Back in the days when we used to go to malls. I know somebody's listening that remembers going to a mall at some point, right? You remember going to a mall at some point, and there was an Express in there, I'm sure. But now this Express, led by an investor group, right? It's an investor group that has the brand, is trying to bring it back. However, it's got to close 100 stores. It's going to close about 100 stores. It says longtime mall retailer Express filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in Delaware federal court on Monday. It's trying to save the company by acquiring it. It has to shut down some of its locations. Says closing sales are expected to begin on Tuesday. The company said hours remaining stores won't change, and it will continue to accept orders and returns as usual. But they're going to have to go through a restructuring here. Again, major companies that we see, ladies and gentlemen, major companies that you may shop at, major retailers, are all going through a restructuring. There's not enough sales coming in. They can't keep good workers. People aren't shopping in the same ways anymore. There are not as many malls. People aren't going to shop in that manner anymore. They still have to pay rent. They still have overhead. They still have inventory. This is just the tip of the iceberg when we start looking at industries, when you start thinking about the industries that are out there and where you're going to choose to spend your time, invest your time. I talk to a lot of people in both of these industries, in the restaurant space and the retail space. And oftentimes they might love their job. They love the people that they work with. They love the camaraderie and the recognition and the good stuff that it brings into your life in both of these kind of industries. But if the industry collectively is struggling, you can do well, you can feel good, but if the entire ship is slowly sinking, it makes sense to eventually get off that ship. Makes sense eventually to say, hey, I can notice this whole ship is slowly sinking. We're still having a good time. I'm still making some money. I still enjoy it, but it's getting harder and harder and harder. Bigger stores are starting to shut down. Bigger stores are starting to say, hey, I don't know if we can sustain this. And they now need to go in and start restructuring some things. Your job is to start thinking about this and saying, okay, when does this not benefit me anymore? When do I have to pay attention just to where I need to get to financially? And even though I've had a good run in this industry, even though I know this is where all my expertise comes in or all my skill set comes in, I know this is what's familiar to me. I know that there's a lot that is around. But in the future, will it still be around? In the future, will this still be the thing that is able to help me support my family, to support myself, to build savings, to get to investment? These two, we just highlighted these two industries, right? The retail space, the restaurant space, because of these two articles that came out around these two big bankruptcies or potential, right? With Red Lobster and then with Express. But a lot of the people in these industries don't have secure retirements. A lot of restaurant managers and retail managers that I know, they don't have secure retirements. They haven't had the ability to have a luxury of a steady schedule where they continue to put away a same amount of money over time. So they're oftentimes, right, under um uh invested, I guess, so to speak, right? They have less than they really should have, but they enjoy the job or they're good at the job or it's comfortable. However, is it helping us? Is it helping them get to where they want to go financially? If one day retiring is important and we're not planning for it and we don't have the resources, we don't have many restaurants don't offer retirement accounts. Many retail jobs don't offer a retirement account, which should change, right? But again, just knowing if you're there, well, I need to start putting something away somewhere, right? Need to start figuring that side out. So that's why thinking long term about, is this the right industry for me? Is this industry going to help me be able to reach my financial goals and dreams, is something that we got to be honest about. You're going to see a lot of shakeups over this next year. And that's what, again, this BizBuzz Live is helping us have conversations about and talk a little bit more through, which is, hey, what if it all shakes up again? None of us expected COVID. None of us expected to be locked down, but it shifted how we had to think. It shifted how we had to do business. It shifted our work. It shifted our careers. So what if something like that happens again? How do you pivot in your career? Do you know how to use the internet? Do you know how to network? Do you have a separate way to make income right now? If maybe your job is the only way that you make income, do you have another way to make income? These are all questions. These are all questions that I want us to focus on. When we start to hear of big companies go bankrupt, we have to start to think to ourselves, well, what is secure? If our job's not secure, if these big major companies aren't secure, what is secure? It's betting on ourselves, betting on your own skills, betting on your own talent, betting on your own resources, your own network, your own faith, right? Whatever it is for you, you got to bet on that part of it. And then you can now start to have options of what you need to do in case things change drastically, in case the job doesn't pay you what you want, in case your company goes bankrupt, in case you're right there's another round of mass layoffs, in case you're stuck at home, like whatever it is. The mission that we have to make sure that we're focused on is that we're putting ourselves in a position to protect and secure a financial foundation for ourselves. The way that we do that is by owning our income, taking ownership of how we generate money. If someone can give you the resources or the money, right, that is running your lifestyle, they can take it away as well. We can't give people that. We can't give jobs. We can't give companies, right? We can't give others outside of us that opportunity to control all of it. Sure, that might be where we start. That might be the majority of it now, but we got to start focusing on the future. How do we get to retirement? How do we invest more? How do we generate more cash flow? Those become the questions. Those become the things that we start asking ourselves so that we can put ourselves in a better financial position, ladies and gentlemen. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. Short and sweet today on this April 24th. It's Financial Literacy Month. So make sure we're talking finances. Make sure you're out there educating yourself financially. Just so you know, we dropped an ebook, a cash flow ebook. If you want to go ahead and grab it, the link's right there on the screen. It'll be down there in the description as well. We dropped 5 ebooks for Financial Literacy Month. Download them, free information. It's a good conversation starter. There might be some questions in there that you have. We did one on cash flow, which is important. How to make sure that you're raising that discretionary income. How do you either make more money or save more of what you're spending currently? Keep more of what you're spending. It's an important conversation, and we want to make sure we're having it with everybody. But again, got to put yourself in a position, ladies and gentlemen, to make sure that your financial foundation is being built. How do we do that? We focus on our cash flow. If you're in a great industry that you know will be able to secure you and help you build something, have some type of retirement. Make sure you can grow and invest. Make sure that you have the ability to bring in and scale your income, because there's some industries that are good, but you can't scale your income. If you get a 1% raise every year, you get a 3% raise every 3 years. That's not going to help you beat out inflation. That's not going to help you get that house. We got to really be able to jump some levels. So are you in an industry that does that? If not, we got to figure out a way to make that happen, and then keep more of the money that you're making. That is where we can impact the rest of our financial life. Then we can save more, get out of debt, and do all the other things we want to do. But you got to pick a good industry. Maybe it's multiple industries till you learn what the right industry is. I didn't know I was going to end up in financial services. I'll tell you that. I didn't know that I was going to end up in the insurance world. I didn't know that I was going to end up in the financial coaching world. I didn't know that's where I was going to be. I thought I was going to be in restaurants. But then it led me this way because I love people. I believe in people. I'm good with people. I like hospitality. I have a big heart. I like helping. And I like to help in an area that I feel like is incredibly important, which happens to be around money, because my family, I learned some things about money that then I wanted to be able to share with some other people. And from that premise, it's been a decade-long run, and we've been just educating families and individuals and business owners about how to get ahead financially and the things that maybe they don't understand. And so when we have these financial coaching conversations with people, oftentimes the topic comes up around making money, how to bring in money, how to shield some of it from taxes. Those become the conversations. And so we always want to be aware of what's happening out there. Financial industry is booming. We're growing. People are always in need of money, talking about money, trying to figure out money. So that's good. I found one. If you ever have questions about it, you can feel free to reach out to me here on LinkedIn or send me a message. More than happy to talk about it. We can dive into it. But more importantly, you got to know what else is out there for you, what your options are, and that those options should help you get to where you want to go. All right. All right, y'all. Listen, it's always a pleasure. Every Wednesday, BizBuzz Live. We're jumping on here, 12:30 Eastern, right here on LinkedIn and YouTube. Feel free to share this. Feel free to drop some comments in the chat. Feel free to come back every Wednesday. Let's have some conversations around industry, around career, around entrepreneurship, around vocation, around what we're called to do to generate more income for ourselves so that we can go off and design our ideal life. That's what it's about. All right, y'all. Until next time, next Wednesday, take care.